In my last life, my girlfriend put on a wedding dress and married her male best friend. When I found out, I crashed the ceremony and made a scene. Everyone there told me I was being selfish, that I shouldn't pick a fight with a dying man. You could have other weddings, they said, but he only has 3 months to live. They threw me out of the hotel like trash. Later, I discovered she and her best friend had gone on a honeymoon together. Her social media was flooded with pictures of the two of them, smiling, inseparable, like they'd been waiting their whole lives for that moment. I became a laughingstock. Everyone looked at me like I was the last idiot in the room, the fool who never realized he was being cheated on. When they got back from their trip, the guy found me. A smug grin was plastered across his face. "It's amazing," he gloated. "All I had to do was say the word, and I got to experience being a husband. Totally worth it." That's when he slipped up. He never had cancer. It was all a lie, just a trick to fool a gullible idiot. And I had bought a hook, line, and sinker. I snapped. I beat him to a bloody pulp right there on the spot. My girlfriend rushed over, but when she saw him on the ground, she screamed at me. "You knew he was sick. How could you hit him like that?" Watching her cradle him in her arms, her face etched with nothing but concern for him, something inside me shattered. I walked into the kitchen, grabbed the biggest knife I could find, and ended both of them. Then I walked to the balcony and jumped. When I opened my eyes again, I was back. Back on the very same day of the wedding. This time, when I walked in and announced that we were through, she was the one who panicked. "Ethan, what the hell is your problem? Stop making a scene. Leo only has 3 months left. What's the big deal if I help him experience a wedding before he dies?" Chloe Miller's voice grated on my ears. I blinked, vision slowly sharpening. There she was, standing in front of me in a brilliant white wedding gown, her face twisted with indignation. And peeking out from behind her, a smirk playing at his lips, was the pretty boy with too much foundation on, Leo Hayes. The self-righteous Chloe and her manipulative best friend, Leo. I was back, reborn, and I'd landed right on the exact day of their wedding. What a coincidence. "No problem at all," I said with a smile. "I'm just here to wish you two the best, and maybe grab a drink while I'm at it." Last time, I had screamed and fought to get her back, only to be thrown out by her and her family. After that, the happy couple had taken off on a trip to Europe, on my credit card, of course. But this was a new life, and a new rule: no more relationships. Being a player sounded much better. Everyone knows the simp gets screwed. My calm response caught Chloe completely off guard. The other guests were stunned too. They all knew I was her actual boyfriend. A jealous rage would have been the normal reaction. But this casual acceptance? Panic flickered in Chloe's eyes, though she quickly masked it with brittle anger. "Ethan, stop being so passive-aggressive. This is happening. Leo and I are getting married today. Why would I be upset? I couldn't be happier for you two," I replied, raising a glass of champagne from a nearby table. "Here's to a lifetime of happiness. May you two be locked together forever so you can't ruin anyone else's life." I drained the glass in one go, set it down with a soft click, and walked out of the ballroom without looking back. "Make some noise." The DJ's voice boomed through Club Onyx. "Tonight's on Ethan Vance." The crowd roared, a wave of sound that threatened to blow the roof off the building. 90% of the women in the place immediately locked their eyes on the prime VIP booth by the stage where I was sitting. In that moment, I was the king of the world. "Hell yeah," I shouted over the beat. "This is what living is all about." I grabbed a thick stack of hundreds from the table, stood up, and made it rain over the dance floor below. The energy in the room surged, reaching a fever pitch. Under the cover of the chaos, I slipped out the back. Leaning against my new Lamborghini, I took a deep breath of the cool night air. A moment later, a woman in high heels stumbled out of the club, running toward me. If I remembered correctly, she was one of the promoters, a bottle girl. "Ethan," she said, a little breathless. "Yeah," I replied, smirking playfully. I don't want to struggle anymore," she whispered, looking down at her feet, a blush creeping up her neck. Her name was Lily. I tilted my head toward the passenger door. "Get in." "Okay," she said without hesitation. In the passenger seat, Lily's cheeks were flushed. She told me she was a student at the nearby music conservatory, working at the club to pay her tuition and help her family. A good girl, just trying to make ends meet. I nodded, feeling a strange sort of appreciation as I pulled away from the curb and headed for the nearest five-star hotel. The next morning, we were jolted awake by a ringing phone. "Hello, Ethan. Why did you cancel my credit card?" The moment I answered, Chloe's furious voice drilled into my ear. If I remember the timeline correctly, this was when she and her dying best friend were preparing for their little honeymoon to the Maldives. Leo, of course, had claimed all his money, was tied up in medical treatments. So Chloe had to foot the bill. I guess she found out her card was declined when she tried to buy the plane tickets. "I'm sorry, who is this?" I asked, my voice dripping with mock surprise. "Why on earth would I be paying for your things, Ethan?" she shrieked. "You are such a petty, vindictive man. Don't think for a second this will make me forgive you." Before she could continue her tirade, Lily stirred beside me. She rubbed her eyes and murmured in a sleepy voice, loud enough for the phone to pick up. "Honey, who is that? It's so early." Dead silence on the other end. Then an even bigger explosion of rage. "Ethan, who is with you?" "None of your damn business. Stop bothering me." With that, I hung up, tossed the phone aside, and pulled Lily back into my arms. I figured a college girl would know a thing or two, but last night, her movements had been hesitant, shy, like a girl who'd never been with anyone before. "So, did he agree to pay Chloe? I just want to capture every beautiful moment with you in the time I have left." On the other end of the line, Leo Hayes sounded anxious. Chloe, still fuming from the call, felt irritation spike again. But then she looked at Leo's pale, delicate face, and her heart softened. "Don't worry," she said, forcing a smile. "I'll make sure your wish comes true." Leo's expression brightened instantly. He wrapped his arms around hers, resting his head on her shoulder, looking up at her with total dependence. Chloe stroked his hair, a maternal glow in her eyes. "I'm not wrong," she told herself. "This is all Ethan's fault. He's the petty one. I'm just trying to grant a dying man's last wish. What's so wrong with that?" Life without Chloe was incredible. It was like a weight I never knew I was carrying had finally been lifted. I spent my days with Lily, traveling, relaxing, enjoying life. She was thoughtful, attentive, and eager to learn. Nothing like Chloe, who argued about every little thing. "Bro, did you know your ex took off to the Maldives with some other guy for a honeymoon?" I was soaking a hot spring at a mountain resort with Lily when my younger brother, Ryan, called. "Yeah, I heard. What about it?" Honestly, I'd been surprised at first. Chloe spent money like water and never saved a dime, always coming to me for everything. If she was still determined to take Leo on that trip, the only way she could have managed it was through high-interest personal loans or maxing out a dozen credit cards. "Dude, you're not even mad." Ryan's voice was full of disbelief. "She's someone else's problem now, not mine." "Why would I be mad?" I said calmly. "No, I mean, holy crap, bro. My own brother. Are you for real this time?" Ryan was floored. As my only brother, he had tried everything to get me to break up with the black hole of neediness that was Chloe. He'd argued, pleaded, even tried setting me up with other people. But I had been hopelessly devoted. He couldn't figure out what finally made me wake up. I couldn't very well tell him I'd already died once for that woman. Could I? Way too embarrassing. Ryan didn't press. His tone shifted to excitement. "Does this mean you're finally coming back to run the company? You know, Mom and Dad left it for you. You know what? Something's come up. I gotta go." The second he mentioned work, I was already looking for an out. I was finally enjoying myself. The last thing I wanted was to go back to babysitting a bunch of employees. What was wrong with eating, drinking, and collecting dividends? Still, he had reminded me of something. Over the years with Chloe, I had spent a fortune on her. The condo, the car, the jewelry, the designer bags. Now that she was out of the country, it was the perfect time to clean house. I shot Ryan a text and sent one of the corporate managers over. "I need help liquidating some assets." It wasn't a life-changing amount of money, but there was no way in hell I was letting her keep any of it. A month flew by. Then I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Chloe. "We need to talk." I ignored it. I was busy shopping with Lily. She was an absolute gem. She never dragged me into designer boutiques, Instead, she found cute, affordable jewelry shops. For someone who had claimed she didn't want to struggle anymore, she'd spent less in a month than Chloe would in a single day on a handbag. Ping. A friend request popped up on my Instagram from a new account. Normally, I'd ignore it, but not this one. I knew exactly who it was. Leo. Sure enough, the second I accepted the request, my phone buzzed relentlessly. A flood of photos filled my DMs. Leo and Chloe on a beach. Leo and Chloe clinking champagne glasses. Leo and Chloe kissing with a sunset behind them. Lily heard the buzzing and glanced over, her expression curious but not intrusive. She had the perfect sense of boundaries. Hey, come here. I want to show you something funny, I said, waving her over. She put down the necklace she was looking at and skipped over to me. Who is this? She asked, scrolling through the pictures with a frown. Why are they sending you all these photos of people I don't know? Oh, the woman in the pictures is my ex-girlfriend, I said, pointing casually. The other one is her side piece. Lily's eyes widened, and disgust flashed across her face. That's horrible. How could someone spend their boyfriend's money to go on a honeymoon with another man? Her expression softened into sympathy. Ethan, I'm so sorry you went through that. That's not even the best part, I continued, leading her on. You know who's sending me these pictures? Who? Wait a minute. Lily wasn't stupid. She was a woman who could make a snap decision to leave the club scene for a better opportunity. She knew how to read a situation. She put it together instantly. I get it. It's the guy from the photos. He's sending them to make you angry. She shook her head. They're shameless. Hearing her figure it out so quickly made me cringe at my past self. I wanted to slap the old me for being such a monumental simp. From now on, no more attachments, no more love. My lack of response must have frustrated Leo's pathetic need for validation. He couldn't wait any longer and sent a long block of text. Wondering who this is? I'll tell you the truth. Leo never had cancer. He just wanted to see you suffer. He wanted to take everything you have. Pretty clever, using the third person. I couldn't understand how someone with a scrap of intelligence could be so monumentally stupid as to gloat to the very person they'd wronged. Did he get off on bullying nice guys? So I sent back a voice message, my tone dripping with utter contempt. I could almost picture his face twisting with rage after hearing that one little word. And for my next trick, I immediately blocked and deleted him. No chance for an angry reply. No release for his frustration. Once I was done, I wrapped an arm around Lily. Come on, forget this cheap stuff. I'm taking you to get something nice. Really, Ethan? You're the best, she squealed with delight. Across town, staring at the red error message on his screen, Leo Hayes screamed, Ethan, you son of a bitch, and hurled the brand new iPhone 15 Chloe had just bought him against the wall. Chloe was starting to panic. She had a terrible feeling that this time Ethan was truly done with her. He wasn't answering her calls. He'd blocked her on iMessage. When she went back to their condo, she found the locks changed and a new family already living there. All of her belongings were piled in cardboard boxes by the curb like trash. She had no choice but to rent a cheap, grimy room in a motel. To make matters worse, Leo was being a total brat. The iPhone 15 she'd taken out a loan to buy for him. He'd smashed it in a fit of pique. She was about to lose her temper, but one look at his pale, weak face forced the anger back down. He's terminally ill, she reminded herself. He's allowed to have a temper. It's okay, she said, her voice drained. We'll get you a new one. Really, Chloe? You're the best. Leo's mood instantly lifted. Seeing the adoration in his eyes gave her a small measure of comfort. She patted his head. You must be hungry. Let's clean up and go out to eat. Okay. Leo cheered, rushing to the bathroom. He showered, slipped into a new designer outfit Chloe had bought in the Maldives, and doused himself in cologne. Chloe, how about the Sovereign? He suggested. Sounds good, she nodded. Ethan, this place looks really expensive. Maybe we should go somewhere else. I know a great food truck park with amazing barbecue. Lily was on cloud nine. Ethan had spoiled her all day. They'd gone to an amusement park, and he bought her the latest Louis Vuitton bag. She felt a little guilty and wanted to treat him to dinner. But as she stood outside the towering entrance of the Sovereign, she was terrified her card would be declined. What's the big deal? Come on. I had no idea what was going through her head. All I could think about was how many times I brought Chloe here, and not once did she ever thank me. In fact, she'd always order extra to go, claiming she was still hungry. Now, with the clarity of hindsight, I knew the food was for Leo. Hand in hand, Lily and I walked into the Sovereign and settled in for a perfect dinner. Throughout the meal, she constantly put food on my plate, feeding me the first bite of every new dish that arrived. She was a master at making someone feel appreciated. When the check came, the total made her jaw drop. Even so, she insisted on paying. I saw the color drain from her face and knew she was just putting on a brave front. Gently, I took the bill from her hand. The amount was nothing to me. It had been a perfect day until I saw Chloe walking toward our table. "Ethan," she said sharply, Leo clinging to her arm. "Who is this woman? What gives her the right to be with you? For the love of God, why couldn't I escape this woman?" My good mood evaporated instantly. Chloe noticed my scowl and immediately went on the offensive. "What's with that look, Ethan? Are you not happy to see me?" "Wow, you're perceptive." I shot back, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "I was hoping I'd never have to see you again for the rest of my life." "You're an eyesore, Ethan, you." Chloe sputtered, her face flushing red with anger. "Ethan, come on." Leo chimed in with his smarmy, passive-aggressive tone. "Look how upset you're making Chloe. You know she's your real girlfriend. You just hired this girl to make her jealous, right?" I saw Chloe's expression soften at his words, her confidence returning. Chloe crossed her arms and looked down her nose at me. "Ethan, I told you I would marry you. But if you think these little games are going to pressure me, you're wrong. It just makes you look pathetic. Get out of my way." I snapped, done with the conversation. Pushing past her, Chloe caught off balance, stumbled, and hit the corner of a nearby table. She cried out in pain, clutching her side. Leo saw his opening. A flicker of satisfaction crossed his face before he rushed forward, playing the hero. "Ethan, don't you?" He barely laid a hand on my shoulder before I spun around and kicked him square in the chest, sending him flying backward onto the floor. "I was talking to her. Not you, you little worm." I sneered, looking down at him. "You look like you'd blow your load before you even got the wrapper off by now." The manager came rushing over, drawn by the commotion. "From now on," I said, my voice cold and clear, "these two are banned. Them and any dogs they bring with them." "Got it." "Yes, boss." "Absolutely," the manager stammered, wiping sweat from his brow. As I walked away with Lily, I heard the manager barking at two security guards. "Get them out of here, and make sure they pay their bill first." Once we were outside the Sovereign, Lily's face was flushed, her eyes shining with adoration. "Wow, Ethan," she breathed. "That was so hot." "Oh yeah? I could be even hotter. Want to see tonight?" I teased with a wicked grin. Lily's eyes went wide, and she immediately started waving her hands in protest. No, I can't, Ethan. I'm exhausted. Find someone else to torture. I can introduce you to my roommate. She's really pretty." "Nope, I only want you. We're going to the hotel now." I turned the wheel, pointing the car toward her destination. Just then, a FaceTime call from Ryan popped up on the screen. "Holy crap, bro. I heard you beat up your ex at our restaurant." "She's not my ex, don't call her that." I corrected him sharply. "Sorry, bro. My bad. My mouth runs away with me," Ryan said. On screen, I saw him playfully tap his own cheek a couple of times. I wasn't really mad. "Whatever. What's up? Is it for real this time? You're really done with that woman?" he asked, needing to be sure. "Yes, it's real. You asked me that last time." "Next topic," I said, focusing on the road. Lily held the phone for me. "All right, fine. Fine. Good riddance. Okay, so about that thing you had me look into, I found it. There's definitely something up with that Leo guy. My parents had died when we were young, and as the older brother, I'd always had Ryan's respect. He knew I wasn't in the mood to rehash the drama with Chloe, so he cut right to the chase. According to Ryan's research, back when I was missing after the accident that killed our parents, they'd heard about a boy in an orphanage who looked a lot like me. They seriously considered adopting him, but ultimately decided against it. Eventually, through a massive effort, they found me. Later, Ryan was born. That boy they almost adopted, it was Leo Hayes. For years, he had been plotting, trying to get close to me, even befriending Chloe as part of the scheme. His goal was to steal back the life he felt I had stolen from him. Ethan, that Leo guy, is a psychopath, Lily blurted out from the side, unable to contain herself. She'd gotten the gist of my history with Chloe over the past month, but had always been smart enough not to interfere. This, however, was too much for her to stay quiet about. She just couldn't comprehend how someone could be so delusional. You think only a psycho could come up with a plan that childish? I scoffed. Then I spoke to Ryan through the phone. Do it. Fire every single one of Chloe's relatives that she got jobs for at her companies. I want them all gone by morning. Not a single one left. You got it, bro. Consider it done, Ryan said with relish. I hung up. I knew a lot of people wouldn't be sleeping tonight, Chloe included. I was going to make them all understand a simple truth. Their pathetic little schemes meant nothing in the face of real power. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, my phone rang. An unknown number. It had to be Chloe. I motioned for Lily to decline the call. They called back immediately. She declined again. They called back again. Who else could be this persistent? I finally just turned my phone off. Turning to Lily, I put on my most pitiful expression. Oh no, Lily Bear. What are we going to do? I'm so broke now. I can't even afford a hotel room. Lily's face turned bright red. She looked down shyly and mumbled, It's okay. I'll pay Ethan. I have money. I never thought I'd be the target of an online mob. And the person who sicked them on me was none other than Chloe Miller. Please, everyone help me. My boyfriend left me. He cheated on me with another woman. And while I was gone, he sold the home we shared. Now I'm homeless, living in a cheap motel. Ethan, this woman is disgusting, Lily fumed, watching the TikTok on my phone. She's the one who cheated, and now she has the nerve to play the victim. She wouldn't stand for anyone talking bad about me. The worst part was the video was trending. It was everywhere. The comments were a tidal wave of outrage directed at me. Apologize. This scumbag doesn't deserve to be happy. Someone call the cops on him. He illegally sold their shared assets. Let him rot in jail. I know him. His family owns the sovereign. Everyone boycott his businesses. Run him into the ground. Reading the comments, even Lily started to panic. These people are crazy. What if this actually hurts your family's company? Don't worry, I said with a confident smile. Watch me work. I pulled her close. Come on, babe. Let's make a video. Lily thought I was just trying to document our day and happily played along. After we shot a quick, glamorous clip of us laughing on a yacht, I posted it to my own account with a simple caption, Unbothered. Lily's jaw dropped. Ethan, why'd you post that? I just grinned. What? Don't want to be my little movie star? She shook her head frantically. No, that's not it. But now everyone is going to attack you. I casually set my phone down. That's the whole point. It worked exactly as I planned. In less than half a day, my account gained over 1 million followers. The likes, comments, and shares were on par with a major influencer. I was infamous nationwide. Seizing the moment, I went live every day, all day. I didn't sell products. I didn't ask for gifts. My only content was flexing my relationship with Lily. We broadcasted from wherever we were. Fancy restaurants, private jets, exclusive parties. The only time the stream stopped was when we were sleeping or in the bathroom. I became the sole target of everyone's hatred. The mob stopped trying to organize boycotts of the sovereign. They were too busy flooding my live stream chat with insults. The few comments that mentioned the businesses, I had my moderators delete instantly. This went on for a solid week. The initial firestorm of rage slowly began to fizzle out. Even my most dedicated haters were running out of steam. They call me shameless, thick-skinned, a man who couldn't be insulted. Most importantly, because I wasn't trying to monetize my infamy, they had no leverage. I was just a rich guy living my life. And I was doing it all just to piss them off. They couldn't find a single weakness to exploit. On the 8th day, things finally shifted. Ethan, we need to talk. Chloe blinked first. She posted a public video, her tone much more subdued. I knew what she was thinking. Internet fame is fleeting. If she wanted to resolve this, the window was closing. Honestly, Chloe could have easily pivoted and become an influencer, leveraging the drama, to build a career. But I knew her better than that. She was used to a life of effortless luxury, a life I had provided. The grind of being a content creator was far too much work for her. And even if she did try, I had a dozen ways to make sure she'd fail spectacularly. She wasn't going to build a career off my back after we'd broken up. The time was right. Okay. My one-word public response was like gasoline on a dying fire. The internet exploded again. Everyone was on the edge of their seats, waiting for the next chapter. I'm sure they were all expecting a dramatic confrontation, the kind where Chloe would finally take down the villain. But me? I wasn't worried. I had nothing to fear. We agreed to meet at a Starbucks in the city center. I had Lily go inside ahead of me, phone ready. The plan was simple. The moment I walked in, she would start the live stream. When I stepped through the doors, Chloe was already there, waiting at a table. But the ever-present Leo? Nowhere in sight. My guess, he'd realized she had no more value to exploit and had simply vanished. A shame. It was the kind of problem a blind man could see. But Chloe? She was completely oblivious. As I approached her table, she suddenly stood up. And then, thud, she dropped to her knees. Right there, in the middle of Starbucks, in front of thousands of viewers watching the live stream. Ethan, I was wrong, she sobbed, tears streaming down her face. Please, please forgive me. She reached out to grab my leg, but I sidestepped her easily. In that moment, Chloe's life wasn't just bad, it was a nightmare. The motel room she was staying in was filthy, the sheets damp. She couldn't afford five-star meals anymore, surviving instead on cheap, greasy takeout. Debt collectors were calling nonstop. Her family and friends were all pressuring her to make things right with me. And Leo? He was gone, ignoring her calls and texts completely. She regretted everything, so she decided to apologize. In her mind, if she just put on a good enough show, if she humbled herself enough, I'd melt and take her back. Whoa, hey, let's not do this, I said loudly, taking another step back. There are cameras everywhere. Don't try to frame me for something. My reaction seemed to cut straight through her performance, and a chill went through her. That kneeling moment sent a shockwave through her online supporters too. The goddess they had been defending was suddenly just a desperate woman. Ethan, I'm on my knees apologizing to you. What more do you want? She cried, her desperation finally sounding real. You say that like I'm some kind of villain bullying a poor, helpless victim, I replied with a dismissive shrug. The casual indifference in my tone seemed to break something inside her. The act was over. She slowly pushed herself up from the floor, her eyes now cold, burning with fury. Are you trying to drive me to my death? She hissed. I ignored her, instead catching the eye of a barista who had been watching the drama unfold. Can I get a black coffee? No ice, I said, then walked over to an empty table and sat down. I don't know what signal she thought I was giving, but she followed and sat opposite me. Her tone shifted, low and businesslike. If you give all my relatives their jobs back, I can let this all go. We can get back together, get married, just like we planned. If you don't, she leaned forward, voice sharp. I'll burn everything to the ground. You and me both. I took a slow sip of my coffee and spread my hands. By all means, let the show begin. Chloe stared at me, completely stunned. What? What did you say? I finished my coffee and set the cup down with a definitive click. Since you're not talking, allow me. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper, a speech I had prepared. Clearing my throat, I began. Ahem. For the 4 years we were together, I brought you breakfast every morning. I gave you a $10,000 allowance every month, on time, plus a credit card with no limit. Every birthday, every holiday, you got designer bags and jewelry. Your relatives, every last one of them who needed a job, from the teenagers to the retirees, I put them on my company's payroll. Hell, even your family dog was getting a pet food stipend. You told me we were soulmates. You swore you'd never marry anyone but me. But then you put on a wedding dress and married another man. Am I wrong? I asked, my voice dangerously calm. Chloe was getting impatient. I can't believe you kept a list. I was going to marry you eventually. Weren't you supposed to do all that for me? Supposed to? I almost laughed. Instead, I slammed my hand on the table, the sound echoing through the quiet cafe. I stood up, pointing a finger at her. What? You think you're lying with gold down there? I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on you. And you turn around and wear a wedding dress for someone else? Do you have any idea what a wedding dress is supposed to mean? I roar, my voice rising. I'm asking you, what does it stand for? It stands for purity, for sanctity. It stands for love and loyalty. It stands for a new beginning, for hope, for grace, for dignity. It is not a damn costume you get to wear to play charity worker, spending my money while giving your heart to someone else. My words hit her like a physical blow. She stood there, stunned, her face pale, her mouth hanging open. I didn't give her another glance. Instead, I called out to Lily, who was still filming from across the room. Together, we walked out of Starbucks, leaving Chloe standing there alone in the ruins of her life. I knew one thing for sure. After today, there wouldn't be a corner of the internet left where she could hide.